Welcome to the WTIM Morning Show. I'm Avery Cooper, your host. Your stream brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark and People's Bank and Trust. They put people first. You'll find those streams online on the TaylorvilleDailyNews.com Facebook or on YouTube when you search WTIM TV. Well, if it's almost springtime, and it's going to be a time for you to start thinking about flowers and planting your garden, and also maybe, Easter time is a great time to pick up some flowers. And Joanna Businger, I beg your pardon, Joanna Businger is the owner of Southern Belle Florist on 321 North Madison in Taylorville. She also has a shop in Girard that she started 15 years ago from the ground up. She's born and raised in Texas, where she worked at a flower shop and moved to Illinois in November. She worked at R&R Bindery in Girard for 14 years, fell in love with a farmer from Blue Mound, so life brought her over here. She drove the distance from Blue Mound to Girard every day for the past 4 years until the opportunity came up to open up this flower shop in Taylorville. So here is Joanna. And Joanna, I beg your pardon. Did I say your last name correctly?
It's Businger.
Businger, thank you very much. I should ask you that off air. Anyway, thank you so much for being here, Joanna, to talk to me a little bit about your business.
Yes, sir.
Well, tell me a little bit more about how that opportunity came to be. I want to talk about that actually, but first, let me start from some scratch. Tell me a little bit about how you started getting into florist, being a florist anyway. What do you find so great about working with flowers?
Honestly, I knew nothing about the floral world before I got into it. I actually started helping out whenever I was in junior high. My sister got me involved in it because she worked at a flower shop in Texas. So they needed some seasonal help, and she had sisters, so she pulled me in, and I just kind of started with cleaning flowers and sweeping floors and things like that. And then I worked my way up. Worked at that flower shop all through high school, all through college. Wasn't really sure if that was the route that I wanted to take. And then when we moved to Illinois, I really got to miss in the flower shop. And I talked with my mom, who is also a business owner, and she kind of helped me get set up. And we just kind of started in a little corner of her shop and built it from there.
Fantastic. I'm thinking about Texas, and when I think of Texas, I don't typically think of flowers. What kind of flowers are popular in the area that you had your first job working in the florism industry?
So it would be basically your common everyday flowers that you would even have up here. So everything like your carnations, your roses, your lilies, daisies, your everyday typical flowers. So it's essentially the same thing.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Nothing too different. It's just,
No.
I think of cows, I think of like ranches and stuff when I think of Texas, but I don't think of flowers very often. So that's very interesting. Thank you for that insight. Tell me a little bit about how you spent a lot of time, it seems, at this the flower shop in Girard, and having that be your only avenue, I suppose. At what point did you know that, hey, I could expand? This could be more than just one shop.
So I've always wanted to go full-time flower shop, but Girard is such a small town that it couldn't support me financially, so I had to work a full-time job. I could have ventured on into like Carlinville or some town like that, but well, life happens. I fell in love with the farmer, and he's over here, so it just kind of, I was just going to keep going the way that I was, working the shop over there, working the full-time job. But then we had always discussed opening a shop in Taylorville, but we didn't, the timing wasn't right. We couldn't ever find a building. But then whenever Classic Bouquet decided they were closing, we figured that was a perfect opportunity to at least give it a try.
What's the commute like from Blue Mound to Girard every day?
An hour.
Oh, geez, I bet you're glad that you don't have to do that as often.
Yes, very glad.
Do you still have the shop in Girard?
I do.
Okay,
yes.
all right. Double duty.
So
then.
it is connected to my mom's business, and there's 3 doorways between them. So she's there and can kind of wait on the customers that are walk-ins. And then I just transferred the number over to my cell phone, so I get all of the phone calls.
Okay. So they are one entity, the Southern Belle and your business in Girard now, or are they two different shops now?
So, you mean the Taylorville location
Right.
versus the?
Right.
It is essentially 2 different businesses, but all operating under me.
Okay.
So I pretty much take care of all of it. So I do all of the work here in Taylorville, and then I just transport over what needs to go to Girard. So if I have to make evening deliveries to take it over there so they can deliver it the next day, or take over flowers to put in the cooler if they've sold out what they have, things like that.
For Taylorvillians, though, for what they need to know, you are here in Taylorville ready to address all their floral needs for the spring and summer.
Yes, I will be here every day, other than Sunday, unless if they need me.
You mentioned how you always, or not, maybe not always, but you had thought about opening up a shop in Taylorville, but the opportunity never really presented yourself. How long have you been thinking about setting up a floral shop in Taylorville?
Well, I met my husband, it's going on 12 years ago. We dated for 8 years, and within that, we had talked about it right after we started getting pretty serious. So I would say at least 9 years of it, we've been talking about me opening up a shop over here.
Yeah, that's quite the journey. How would you characterize the feeling when they cut the ribbon on that new shop in Taylorville? Must have been pretty rewarding. How would you characterize that feeling?
It was very surreal, like a dream come true. I'm still kind of in that dream phase, like, is this real? Am I really doing this? Did I really step out and go full self-employment? It is definitely still in the dream stage. Like, it's hard to believe that I actually did it.
I'd imagine you are pretty busy with Valentine's Day right around the corner.
Yeah, it's kind of like the calm before the storm. I've had a few orders rolling in, but we'll see what this week brings. It could be super busy. We never know.
Help me out here. I'm a big procrastinator, and I need a Valentine's Day gift for my sweetheart. How can you hook me up? What can you do? Not just for me personally. I'm not saying like on a deal, but like what are your deals for Valentine's Day right now for everyone?
So I try to keep my prices pretty reasonable. I don't do the big markup like some places do on Valentine's. I kind of try to keep them roughly what I would do for your everyday. So that is one thing I do try to offer.
What about like a half dozen, a bunch of roses, like a half bunch of roses? How much would those go for?
So they would go for about $56.
Okay. Right. And so that's just, yes, that's pretty standard too, especially with all these flower delivery services and whatnot. Like those can be a lot more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that would be your basic. We could always build up from there. So
Right.
if you want to spruce it up with some more fancier flowers in it versus just your traditional filler, you do have to add in for that because each flower carries a different price range.
Right. I want to talk a little bit more about some of the other spring type events. I know Easter's a very big popular holiday for you, and I know spring, summer, birthdays. You get how it is. It's very busy for you at Southern Belle Florist. That's Joanna Businger here on the WTIM Morning Show. We're going to talk more about her business in Taylorville, Southern Belle Florist, here on the WTIM Morning Show after this short time out. Your stream brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville. You'll always do better with Landmark and People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first. You'll find those streams on the TaylorvilleDailyNews.com, Facebook, or on YouTube at WTIM TV.
WTIM. This is Editorial Potpourri. I'm Randall J. Miller, station president. Point number one. Despite various legislators telling us over 5 years ago that Illinois Route 48 through Macon, Christian, and Montgomery counties was part of the state's 5-year road improvement plan to be repaved, it hasn't happened since telling us that 5 years ago. It's one of the roughest roads in the area for commuters, shoppers, and the general public to travel. Here's a public hint to our area legislators that the road sure could use getting repaved before another 5 years is up. Point number 2, we welcome our new county board chairs across our 2 clusters coverage areas, and especially the new chairs in our station's home counties of DeWitt and Christian. We hope with new leadership comes a new era of cooperation among county board members in their respective counties to discuss the issues in a respectful manner with an outcome that's positive for county residents, especially in the area of economic development. Point number 3, countless doctors and nurses we know throughout central Illinois have shared the demeanor of their patients during and since COVID has been angered, demanding, and condescending. While patients have long asked for understanding and empathy from doctors and nurses, it's time to remind those patients that healthcare is short-staffed and doing the best they can with the staff they have. One of my daughters, who has been in the nursing profession some 15 years, tells me that during and since COVID, she's been yelled at and verbally abused by patients. But so that hospitals will keep their high rating to continue receiving government payments, nursing staff are told to just take it. Some nurses have been even told they can file charges against patients that physically abuse them. Patients need an attitude adjustment and realize that a nurse isn't going to answer their call button the second they hit it because they're short-staffed. Such abuse of nurses by patients is one reason thousands of nurses are leaving the profession in the first place. So next time you're a patient in a hospital or doctor's office, remember that courtesy and understanding is a two-way street. That's our opinion. We welcome yours. Our email address is editorial@randyradio.com.
If you're looking for the latest in local hunting and fishing information, then join us for Central Illinois Outdoors with me, Jared White, Saturday morning at 10, Sunday morning at 6 here on WTIM. Every weekend, we'll offer detailed Central Illinois fishing reports, and I'll invite you to share your favorite stories as well. Central Illinois Outdoors with me, Jared White, every weekend here on WTIM and on demand at centralillinoisoutdoors.com. Brought to you by Bob Ridings in Pana, the Clinton, Illinois Chamber of Commerce and Tourism Bureau, and Locked and Loaded in Pana.
Scott Primer here from Locust Grove Church near Assumption. We're spreading the good news of Christ in person and online. Come join our family or watch our video sermon podcast by clicking our icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
I'm Brett with Central Cremation Center, and we serve all of Central Illinois. We offer the most affordable and convenient arrangements in the area with plans starting at just $795. Many of our plans are available by clicking our icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Your information station, WTIM.
It's the WTIM Morning Show. I'm Avery Cooper. Your stream brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville. You'll always do better with Landmark, and People's Bank and Trust. They put people first. You'll find those streams on the TaylorvilleDailyNews.com Facebook or on YouTube at WTIM TV. Spring is right around the corner. The groundhog did say it's 6 weeks away, but guess what? That's almost a week ago. You got less than 5 weeks, a little less than 6 weeks, to pick out all the spring and summer flowers that you need or want in your house for all the events coming up, including Valentine's Day, Easter, Mother's Day, you name it. And Southern Belle Florists and owner Joanna Businger can help you all with all of that. So Joanna, talking to you a little bit off air about some of the specials. I'm totally flower illiterate in terms of like what's high quality, what's low, like kind of on your lower end. So tell me, obviously the roses, they're kind of the tippy of the top, right? What's kind of like right below some of those roses? Like, you know, maybe if the roses are a little bit too much for me, what can I, you know, depending on my budget, obviously, what can you do for me there?
So carnations are always a go-to, and they last a really long time. Those are going to be your cheaper end, but they're still nice. Tulips aren't terribly priced. Let's see. Lilies and roses are kind of along the same price range.
Okay.
And it's just we got snaps, stock. Spiders are really nice, and they're not terribly expensive. So,
what's your favorite flower? Period, I suppose. What's your favorite flower?
My favorite, I have expensive taste. My favorite is a Gerber, and those are kind of pricey.
Can you help me visualize
like the same price as
what a Gerber looks like? I'm just having a hard time picturing it.
So it is like an overgrown daisy.
Okay.
But and it's one head per stem versus a daisy has multiple heads per stem.
Oh, I see. Okay. Right. Now it's helping me out a little bit better. What would you say is the most popular flower that you sell?
The most popular, most definitely, would be a rose.
Just the regular red roses, or do you see a lot of pink and white roses, or even yellow, I suppose?
Red is obviously your most popular, but I do sell a lot of the other colors, the pinks, the yellows, whites, even some oranges are getting pretty popular, yellow, even the bicolors. So they actually have two colors into it. When I can get the tie-dyed roses, those I can't keep because those are really popular.
They just fly off the shelves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not get any this year, but 2 years ago when I got them for Valentine's, those were the very first ones to sell out.
Perhaps provide folks some care tips for some of the flowers when they purchase flowers from Southern Belle Florist. Whether that's your rose or your carnation, what would you advise folks to remember when they buy flowers from you?
Well, the number one tip is don't let them run out of water. Change the water at least once a week. Reclip the stems. That is very crucial for them to last longer. You can always, some people provide little packets of flower food. If the customer requests that, I do have some on hand. But most definitely change the water once a week and clip the stems, and they do last a lot longer.
Definitely do that. Let's see. Well, maybe provide your sales pitch. Why should folks come on over to Southern Belle Florists?
Well, I try to keep my prices pretty reasonable, and I try to always give above and beyond what my customer is expecting. And it's always nice to receive flowers, so I mean, it puts a smile on people's faces.
Yeah, you like to get those flowers and all that work it's a lot of work to be able, and very rewarding, as we've kind of touched on a little bit. Joanna, I'm wondering if there's anything else that you would like to touch on here. We've got about a minute left, so I just wanted to provide you the floor, and just if there's anything else that you'd like to add, or maybe something that I haven't mentioned at all, I'd love to hear it.
Well, I mean, if people are into flowers, I do carry a wide variety of different items like plants, silks. I do have wind chimes. We have some different knick-knack items. We've even gone into the making the clay pots into the different characters. We have solar lights that are made with, there's wood that we rope together and put a solar light on the top. Those are always really nice. And like I said, I've got just a variety of different home decor type of things. So
Anything for a garden, sounds like you have it.
yes, that is my goal. We even carry a small line of jewelry, like handmade jewelry. Nothing over the top. It's just kind of like costume jewelry. But we do have a little bit of that, which I will be getting in some more pieces of that. So
Very nice. Well, Joanna, it's been a pleasure talking to you about your business, Southern Belle Florists. And I wish you luck, and I hope you have a very good rest of your day.
thank you.
Again, that's Joanna Businger. She's the owner of Southern Belle Florists. She also owns another shop over in Girard. Yeah, lives in Blue Mound. Your stream brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark, and People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first. You'll find the streams on the TaylorvilleDailyNews.com Facebook or WTIM TV YouTube.
WTIM.
The Big 870 WTIM Assumption Taylorville, 96.1 W241 CF Taylorville, 107.5